Hello, myself Dr. Mohan Kumar from Government Science College, Bangalore. Now I am going to deal with the topic rearing of silkworm and reeling of cocoons. So first one is rearing of silkworm. Then we'll discuss about reeling of cocoons. So to start with, the production of seeds. You know, the grainages are the centers. Grainages are the centers where actually disease-free seeds are produced. Disease-free seeds of mulberry silkworm are produced in grainages, that is for both reproductive purpose as well as industrial purpose. Reproductive purpose means that is reproductive seeds are utilized for the production of good seed cocoons. From that cocoon, the moths will emerge and are used for the production of seeds again. So in reproductive seeds, we are going to rear the larva to again to produce moth, and it will continue. Sorry, that's for reproductive purpose. On the other side, we also go for what's called industrial purpose, that is commercial seeds are meant for the production of cocoon from which we are going to get the raw silk. One is for multiplication of the these moths or larvae, whatever it may be, and the other side to get the raw silk. So these are the two purposes for which we are going to produce the seeds, that is in grainages. So these are the grainages, you can see. This is how we are going to maintain the larva or rear the larva. Egg laid by a single moth is referred as laying. As in the previous classes I have told you, each individual is going to lay about 400 to 500 eggs. These disease-free layings produced in grainages are stored in egg boxes and supplied for the farmers for rearing purpose. Grainages they are under the control of Central Sericultural Research and Training Institute, that is in Mysore. It produces disease-free layings. So these are the what's called disease-free seed production centers or grainages. These are the rearing stands. In the rearing stand, we are going to use different trays. Rearing trays we call it as. Or you can also call it as chowki rearing. Silkworm rearing. Basically, the first three larval stages are very sensitive, and hence they need special attention. So as the larvae are very small and they are very insensitive, we have to take utmost care about these larvae. These larvae constitute chowki, and the rearing of these small larvae is called chowki rearing. As I said, first three stages of larva are very delicate and they are called chowki larva, and the rearing of these larvae is known as chowki rearing. Next, after the third stage, the fourth and fifth larva constitute the adult stages of silkworm. In commercial sericultural activity, chowki rearing centers are established for rearing chowki silkworms. Rearing houses are generally constructed using the brick, any bricks for that matter, and they use tiled roofs. These houses should have proper ventilation. these rearing centers have to have the proper ventilation and should be partitioned for different purposes like chowki rearing, adult worm rearing, and for raising cocoon, etc. The rooms must be disinfected with 2% formalin before starting the rearing activities. So disinfection of the rearing room is very important to avoid further consequences. The worms are reared in rearing tray. So these are the rearing stands. So in the rearing stand, you can see, these are the rearing trays or chowki rearing trays, we call it as, which are kept on rearing stand. The method of transferring the first stage larva, very delicate small larva, into the rearing tray is referred as brushing. That means we need to transfer the small young ones to these chowki rearing trays. For that purpose, we are not supposed to use any, forceps or spoon, etc. Because they're very delicate, very sensitive, small organisms. Generally, we use, the bird feathers, the big feathers of the birds. Hence, it is called brushing. So if you use forceps and other things, obviously it's going to damage or injure the larva. Hence we are not supposed to use all those things. We use the bird feathers for transferring. That is called brushing. Chowki worms that from 1 to 3rd stage larva are called chowki worms must be fed with tender leaves as they are delicate, they are small, they are tender. We need to provide tender leaves, young leaves of mulberry, which can be preserved in earthen pots covered with wet cloth. You can collect only the, tender fresh leaves. You have to, condition it for the room temperature. For that, you can maintain them in the regular earthen pots. It is covered with wet cloth so that it will reduce the temperature. Then we can provide these leaves for feeding purpose. So here harvesting of the mulberry leaves is by leaf picking. You have to pick each and every selected leaves. Adult worms, generally for adult worms, we use the older leaves. Leaves may be stored in leaf chamber before feeding. That is very important to regulate the temperature. Or for example, if you go and collect the leaves in the morning hours, probably it may be covered with a large quantity of humidity, water content. So then we are not supposed to use it directly, whether it is in the hot condition or if you collect it with a large quantity of humidity, you have to bring it to the normal temperature, then only you have to supply. Worms should be fed. We need to feed the larva like 4 to 5 times in a day. It depends on or depending upon the eating habit and appetite of the larva. It depends on different stages. So based on the consumption, based on the requirement, we need to assess and you have to provide the food 4 to 5 times in a day. Very important thing is we need to maintain the optimum temperature and humidity in the rearing room for the proper growth and normal development of these worms. As they are very sensitive, very delicate organisms, we need to maintain the room condition with reference to temperature as well as the humidity. This larval period may last for about 25 days to reach the 5th instar larva. During that period, these are the optimum conditions of temperature and humidity that you need to maintain. For chowki worms, 24 to 28 degrees centigrade, but for adult worms, 23 to 25. As far as humidity is concerned, for small younger ones, 80 to 85, but for adults 70 to 75. I mean, like this, we need to maintain the required room condition. Then, rising of cocoons. The mature silkworms after reaching the fifth stage, they stop feeding or eating the leaves and prepares to enter the next stage, that's called pupal stage, by initiating the process of spinning cocoon. So once they reach the fifth stage, they stop eating, then they will prepare to the next stage, that is pupal stage, where they start the process of spinning the cocoon around its body. At this stage, the worms gradually they start moving towards the edge of the rearing tray to find out a suitable place where they can anchor to the substratum to spin the cocoon. They start moving to one corner or edge of the tray, etc. for these purposes. This stage can be readily recognized. You can identify this stage. Farmers can identify this stage by its translucent color and also by the constriction that is formed at fourth and fifth segment. By looking into these features, these characters in the larva, now you can start segregating these for further development. The mature worms are now picked up and mounted on suitable mountages, and this process is called mounting. The common type of mountages that is used in our state, Karnataka state, is Chandrike. This Chandrike is a rectangular bamboo mat. It is made up of bamboo on which a spiral bamboo tape is fixed. It is a rectangular bamboo mat. On that, you can see the presence of a spirally twisted, bamboo tape. The mature worms remain attached once you transfer the mature worms from chowki rearing tray to the Chandrike. The mature worms remain attached to the substratum in the posterior end of their body. It's an elongated structure. It gets attached to the substratum in the posterior side, the rear end, the hind end, and they start spinning the cocoon. This process is achieved by the constant round motion of the caterpillar head from one side to the other. So from the posterior end, the posterior end is get attached to the substratum, but it starts rotating its head around its body to cover it with the thread. The worms take about 3 days. Of course, within 24 hours, they will be inside that silk thread or the cocoon, but it's incomplete. It looks like that, but it is incomplete. To complete, it will take about through almost 3 days. After which, the larval skin is thrown off and the larva enters the stage called pupal stage. So this is what is called Chandrike. You can see it's a bamboo mat. You can see like this. It's a bamboo mat, square like structure. So they are arranged properly so that we can use the space effectively. So on that mat, from here you can see a spirally twisted bamboo tape. Okay, continuously it is twisted like this. So you can select the mature larva, and we can stock here so that they start the process of what is called formation of cocoon. In Karnataka, generally the harvesting of cocoon is done on fifth day from the start of the spinning. Once it starts spinning, covering its body with the thread, within 24 hours it looks like as if it is completely covered, but still it will be working inside. It will complete this process by third day, and we will wait for some more days. That is on fifth day generally they will harvest for, I mean, the for extracting the what is called skin from that cocoon. So, or else, I mean, if you leave it like that only, the pupa gets transformed into moth. It will damage the cocoon. It will come out. That is gone. We cannot make use of that cocoon for our purpose. So now, carefully kill the pupa inside the cocoon itself for your purpose. Now you are killing that pupa, I mean, inside the cocoon to get raw silk from that cocoon. So that killing is done by what is called stifling or cooking or boiling, whatever you call. So post cocoon processing therefore involves stifling or boiling and reeling process. So in this stage, we are going to kill the pupa, then we are going to extract the raw silk from the cocoon. So reeling of cocoons. So cocoons are ready. Then we go for what is called stifling. That is nothing but the killing of pupa is termed as stifling. Killing means you have to be very, very careful. I mean, you should not damage the silk. So this is a pre-reeling process. Before reeling, collecting the thread, you have to kill that. So stifling is a pre-reeling process by which the pupa which is present inside the cocoon are killed without compromising the quality of the silk as such. So you should not damage, you should not lose the quality. Carefully you have to kill that pupa. Steam stifling is commonly practiced in Karnataka. So that means, so here we can transfer them to the steam, so to kill the, I mean, pupa. Or the other method is cooking or boiling. Here the cocoons are boiled in water to soften the shell and also to dissolve the sericin for the purpose of smooth reeling. So either using, I mean, steam or boiling are the two means by which we are going to kill the pupa so that we can extract the raw silk. For your reference, this is the, I mean, these are the silk proteins, that is fibrin, two fibrins, and it is completely covered with sericin. I mean, rough, picture of silk thread. So once you get that processed cocoon, then next stage is reeling. The two silk filaments produced by the two silk glands and cemented together by, as I said, in the center you can see two fibrins and they are interlinked with sericin using spinnerets. The silkworm use spinnerets for this process. It constitutes bifilar thread or is also called bave. It contains two fibrin and it is covered with sericin layer. It is called bave. The process of reeling involves the unwinding of the bave of the cocoon. So this process involves unwinding of the bave. So reeling is done either in tradition, either by using charaka or either, or else you can also go for mechanized process. That is with filature where reeling is done with power driven machines. So either you can go for charaka or power driven machines to collect or to reel the silk thread. The two important cocoon markets and reeling markets in Karnataka are Ramanagara and Shidlaghatta. Ramanagara is the largest cocoon market, silkworm cocoon market in India. But Shidlaghatta is famous for its excellent reeling with regards to quality of the silk produced. So, till now, we discussed about the production of disease-free layings in grainages. Okay, once it is produced, they are stored in egg box and supplied to the farmers. The three stages of larva are from first to third stage larvae are very sensitive and that needs special attention, and rearing of these larvae is called chowki rearing. Worms are reared in rearing tray, kept on rearing stand in rearing houses. Then next, fourth and fifth larva, I mean, they are called adult larva. Normally, the larvas we feed 4 to 5 times per day, and very important thing is maintenance of hygienic condition or environmental condition, including temperature and humidity. Once they reach adult stage, almost fifth stage, they are ready to, form the cocoon. They are picked up and they will be shifted to what is called next process of what is called pupation in Chandrike. Then we harvest the cocoons on fifth day and we use it for the extraction of raw silk by stifling and reeling processes. Thank you.